Welcome to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Breitman, and it's my pleasure to welcome in Rutgers field hockey head coach Meredith Civico, coming off the best season in program history. Coach, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Aaron. I'm really excited to be here and really excited to just talk about the program.
Absolutely, I am as well, and we've done this several years in a row now. Before the season, I know the preseason can be grueling in August. Obviously, a pivotal off season for the program, coming off that banner year last year. Just wanted to start just in terms of some closure from last season, what that team and that group of seniors meant to this program, and how I guess their lasting legacy that they'll leave.
I mean, last year was it was incredible. And we have a saying in Rutgers field hockey is leave the jersey better than you found it. And that applies to kind of all aspects of being a student athlete at Rutgers. And there's no question that group really left their mark on the program. So it was an incredible season. Disappointing that it was cut a little bit short. In that NCAA tournament, I think we had the potential, to continue. But I think overall it was just incredible, and I'm so proud of where the program has come. I think that group of seniors who took their fifth year after COVID, I think we started with them in a much different place than we ended. And I'm so grateful and so proud of the program that we built and the culture that we have here at Rutgers, and that is very evident coming into these first few really days with this new group of players we have, because, you still feel that desire to be great, that desire, to continue the legacy that the players before them left. So I'm really excited about this new group of players we have as well.
And talking about the roster, you do have quite a bit of newcomers, and I want to ask about them, but you do have a pretty strong core returning as well. Two of your top three leading scorers from last year, Brittany Molyneux and Lucy Ballantyne. How important is their experience coming back offensively, and just overall, how has the process been in the preseason in terms of players, finding new roles?
It's been really fun, and I think this group we started this preseason almost started last spring, with this group and talking about what this group wanted to achieve. We're a very different team. We've graduated 11 players, and we've brought in 7 newcomers. So it's a very different team. But I think having players like Bridie and Lucy who have tremendous experience from last season, they've already been able to really lead the way, and I think they're both great players, but they're also great people and are great leaders. So, we're going to need to really draw on the experience of some of those players from last season as we bring this group of new players along as well.
And how does that impact your style of play, your strategy? Is the style of play going to be similar, or are you necessarily need to adapt based on the personnel you have?
I think that this group is a little bit more attacking and fluid, where I think last year we had this really defensive identity where, it was, and not that we've lost that, but I think this group's a little bit more exciting. Like we've got the ability to really interchange. We have a lot of fluidity between our midfielders and our forwards, as well as our players who are playing in halfback position. So we've got a lot of players who like to attack and like to go forward. So I think some things will, remain kind of the same in our identity of Rutgers. We play a very structured game. We pass first. We want to build. We want to move the ball. But I think this group has a lot of creativity that we can really tap into.
You've really built the program in part through recruiting internationally. You've built quite a pipeline with the Dutch players. They tend to come in a little bit more experienced. How has that helped, and who do you see coming in? I know you have several from Holland that are on the roster as newcomers this year.
Yeah, it's our international recruiting, I think, is really cool because we have, one player who has an incredible experience, and that was Iris last season. And then she had a great friend, Puck Winter, who she played with at home. And, Puck was involved in the Dutch junior national program. Her sister plays with the under 21 team. And Puck kind of saw that Iris was able to have this experience with hockey and academics. And then Puck joined us actually last spring, which was incredible. So she's just a very talented, overall hockey player. She's a defender, very smart. So it was fun. And then Puck had a friend named Indy Van Eck who was also, Puck and Iris were like, we've got another friend who's a great fit. And I think that's a big part of it, is bringing in players. We have players from all over the world, but who really fit within our culture and our team. And then we were able to also recruit Marique, who's a graduate student. So she'll do her graduate work here at Rutgers, and she has 2 seasons of eligibility. And I think just having her experience as well is going to really help. So it's different, in the Netherlands, a lot of these players grow up by the time they're 3 years old with a stick in their hand, and their parents play, and their siblings play, and their grandparents play, and they grow up at the hockey club, which I think is really cool. So they just bring this, I think, different side, to our program. We've got a few players from New Zealand who are really incredible, and obviously we continued our Irish, Northern Ireland kind of pipeline. We've got Rachel Houston on the squad, so we've got a very special group. But each one of them came to Rutgers, I think, because they had a connection with our program, and which is really, I think, cool.
Obviously, you can't replace Gianna Glatz in goal, a generational talent for your program. But how has that competition gone in your approach in replacing her in that position?
Yeah, I mean, she's really left her mark here. And I think the fact, Sophia Howard, who's with us now, was able to train, and those two were absolutely, fantastic training partners. And Gianna pushing Sophia, and Sophia pushing Gianna for the last 2 years. And Sophia is she's such a mature player. She's such a composed communicator. I think she's got a very different skill set than Gianna as well. I mean, she's very good at what she does, in goal. And I think it's really exciting to kind of see it's her time to really step in and leave her mark on the program. So I'm really excited about Sophia. And then Erica Babbitts, who's a New Jersey product, who's been with us with our club program here with the Mid-Jersey Knights, gosh, since she was very young. So she's really an exciting young up-and-coming keeper she's really come into preseason, and I think, being in the environment and being in, being with Soph, it's already had a great impact on her. So I'm excited to see how she grows as well.
And Sophia Howard actually got a little bit of experience last year, right, with Gianna Glatz playing with the U.S. team, and I think it was the Duke game she started and did really well.
And Richmond, yeah. So, yeah, I don't think I think she's so ready for the position. I think Maddie Sposito, who's our another coach on our staff here, does an amazing job, and she works a lot with the keepers. But she just, I think, has done an amazing job developing Sophia. So we're super confident in Soph. She's a tremendous leader, and we know she's ready and really wants to take this on.
So transitioning to that, talking about leadership, besides Gianna Glatz, obviously Katie Lermore and Carrie Burns, you had some great leaders last year and previous years with them all there. How have you gone about looking to replace that void in terms of leadership this year?
I think this team is very unique in that it's a very collective group of leaders at the moment. So we've got a really fantastic senior group, who really, they've obviously been under Katie and Gianna and Carrie and have, watched them lead. And I think they're so eager to step in and step up into that kind of leadership role. So I think during the spring, especially, this group of seniors has been really instrumental in welcoming, the young players, making them feel comfortable, welcoming in the new players. So the leadership on this team right now is very much a group effort. I think it's one of the tightest, closest teams I've actually ever had at Rutgers. So while they're maybe young and maybe there's not as many familiar faces in the lineup, they're incredibly tight knit, and they all really want to continue what we've built, and they really want to leave their own mark on it. I think when you have such dominant players over you, it's kind of, they very much feel like, okay, we're ready now. Like, give us the reins. We're ready to lead. We're ready to take it on, and we want to leave our mark. So I think that's really something I've been so impressed with this group.
And is that really the key? I mean, this is kind of the next step for you leading this program. It took you a decade to build it to where you got it to, and now you're not obviously starting over, but replacing a lot of key players, having that kind of culture built in with the competition, and wanting to players that have seen the success and wanting to continue it.
Yes, definitely. I think that's, we always, and I always, when building this program and speaking with our other coaches, we wanted it to be a program where the new players just come in and it's so easy because it's just the way we do things. It's not even something you have to explain. You just walk into the locker room and you feel it and you see it, and it's just, you fall right in line. And I think that that's something about this team that's really special.
And talking about experience and leadership, you had three players that played for the U.S. national program this past spring with your assistant coach Matt Esposito, Isabella Mancini, Carly Snarsky, and Elise Pedisani. Sorry. And what did that experience do for them? And have you seen a change or positive progress in their games?
I think that playing in that tournament and being in a position where you're, essentially they were in the tryout for the national team, and we actually were lucky. We were able to run the New Jersey region here at Rutgers with our staff. So our coaching staff was able to work with those players and with some of the other, top players in the region. And they trained so hard, being able to get that opportunity and be selected and go down to Virginia Beach. And I think playing, 5-6 games at that level, they're playing with the current national team players. They're being coached by some of the best coaches in the country. And it's just a very high performance, high level tournament. I think really put them all in a position to make an immediate impact this preseason, and I think Bella Mancini's been somebody who, she's just so consistent. She's worked so hard. She's done everything she really needs to do to put herself in the best position to play. The same with Elise and Carly. Elise has worked really hard. She wants to make an impact on the team. She wants to do whatever she can to help the team, and Carly as well. So Carly's a really fun player who's just put herself in a position, she trains really hard in the weight room. She's played a lot of hockey. So the three of them, I think, did a lot of work to put themselves in a position to come in and make an impact right away this season, because they knew there was opportunity as well. So I give those three a lot of credit, for what they've done.
Transitioning to the schedule, you always, have a really difficult non-conference schedule. Last year you did start on the road. This year a little bit different. 6 of your first 7 games are at home. I think the only road game is at Monmouth. You do have, Duke coming in, St. Joseph's. What was the kind of philosophy this year? Was it different? I think you have 9 teams overall that made the NCAA tournament. So, in a sport that doesn't have that many teams in the NCAA tournament, that's over half the field. Just, asking about you, has your philosophy changed at all with this group, or how did it evolve?
Yeah, I mean, we always say in our mindset is to be the best, we have to beat the best and play the best. And that's what we want. Anytime you've got a Big Ten ACC matchup like game 1, I think that's really exciting. That's something in the Big Ten we're always trying to schedule ACC as much as we can, because, it's just 2 really incredibly competitive conferences. And I really I think obviously this team is going to be new and different, but I think they're ready for the challenge, and we want to see where we're at. The Big Ten is the most competitive field hockey conference in the country, and we need to be prepared to compete, as soon as that conference play starts. So, we want to play teams that are going to challenge us, make us better, make us learn, make us look at ourselves, so that when we get into conference play, we're really ready and we know ourselves really well.
And talking about the Big Ten, I was curious. Obviously, 6 teams made the tournament last year, and Northwestern actually finishing behind everyone ended up winning the title.
Mhm.
Does that actually give hope in a way that you can tell your team you're always in it in the Big Ten, and no matter where you finish in that top 6 or 7, you still have a chance to do something special in the postseason?
Absolutely. I mean, any team right now in the Big Ten could compete for a national title, which I think is incredible, and um, I give a lot of credit, Northwestern, and they didn't have the Big Ten tournament that they wanted to have, and then were able to really kind of rest, reload, and then prepare for NCAA. So, I mean, it's really anyone, like I said, anyone in the Big Ten can win, and we've got to put ourselves in obviously the best position to win um, the tournament this year. But also, if we don't win the tournament, get ourselves an at-large bid. And we want to compete for Big Ten championships. We want to compete for national championships. So, and that's why we schedule the way we do as well, because it's a small field that gets in. So you've got to be really competitive and willing to schedule as well to put yourself in a position to get in.
And I did want to ask you about recruiting, just in terms of, I know you have two Big Ten games on the Big Ten Network. How much that helps? Obviously, NIL is a whole new factor in
Yes.
recruiting, and just the success that your program has had. I guess, how has your recruiting changed in terms of either the reception you're getting, or the questions you get asked, or the approach that you have to take now?
I mean, I think it's amazing, and everyone knows, Rutgers field hockey um, is here to stay, and I think we're a top team in the country. We finished the regular season and with the number 1 seed going into the tournament, and I think that it's an exciting time. We obviously recruit New Jersey really heavily, and I'm excited about the future. Very excited about some of the players, who are interested in our program in the future. And we recruit Pennsylvania really heavily as well. So we're in this hotbed of hockey, and I think players really want to become a part of our program, because of obviously the culture, and because we're a program that is now winning, and um, I'm very proud of Rutgers field hockey, and I think it's the best program in the country, and for a lot of reasons. But I think we're seeing that in recruiting now, which is really exciting.
Couple more for you. Just in terms of the success your program had last year, also the athletic department as a whole, so many different Rutgers teams having success last year. What was the reception like, or what was it like to feel the reception you did from the rest of the other Rutgers teams in the athletic department? And then also, as the year went on, to see so many other programs have success as well.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love Rutgers. I love being, a member of the Rutgers coaching community and athletic department. And we have so many incredible coaches here right now, and that are just doing incredible things with their programs. And I think following along with, the spring sports, especially lacrosses, men's basketball, wrestling. I mean, everybody. It was just rowing. It just was such a fun year. The women's soccer team, obviously, we love them, and our team's very close with them. And I think that was so fun in the fall, to do that together. And everybody was at our games. We had the men's lacrosse team was on the fence at the Big Ten tournament. I don't think the other team could even hear their fans. I mean, it was just so fun. And then Rutgers is just a special place. We've got so many incredible people, coaches, players, just staff. I mean, I'm so proud of, my extended staff here as well. Just everybody working so hard to put our teams in the best possible position to win and compete. So it's a really exciting time to be at Rutgers, and I can't wait to see what we all do this year as well.
Completely agree. And that does lead me to my last question in terms of this year. You're coming off your best year ever, both for you as a coach, but also in program history. How do you reset expectations for this year?
And I think every year is different, and we want to just take it one day at a time and trust the process, and we focus on ourselves, and we really control the things we can control, and I think that's what we've always done, is really just one day at a time, trust the process. I am really excited about this new coaching staff we have as well, adding Phil Edwards into the mix with Maddie and Joey and myself. So, we just have to we've got a great plan and a great staff. And we've just got to, again, trust it and one day at a time.
Rutgers field hockey head coach Meredith Civico, it's always a pleasure to speak with you and really looking forward to covering this team this fall.
Thanks so much, Aaron. Go Knights.